Isolation day 38, Saturday the 25th of April. It's been a beautiful day in the UK, 20 odd degrees. My plan was, when I started this, was to transition from keto to low fat plant-based whole food. My original plan was to settle in and do that after perhaps 2 or 3 weeks. And I think if you watch the first video, I mentioned 2 weeks. Well, it's been 38 days so far, and I haven't managed to even start the transition. So I'm giving myself a deadline of 1 week from today, which is next Sunday, to be ready to kick off on Sunday morning. So that's one week today. I'm looking to start the transition, which is, as I understand it, is a stepped approach. That'll give me some time to read a bit more of the Mastering Diabetes book and review the Do-It-Yourself program, the Mastering Diabetes Do-It-Yourself program, which I have subscribed to some time ago. I understand that this is taking a bit of time to get around to, but I really wanted to be in a position whereby my basal rates were very controlled, and I was really comfortable, because as I understand it, the plant-based approach will reduce my blood sugars further. So that's the difficulty. I want to be confident of that, and what I may do in the meantime is I'm going to put the final touches on my basal rates this week, which include making sure that it works for later on in the day. At the moment, I've been struggling with that for about a week, mainly because of exercise. I had an Instagram live call with Nick Karakandas today. He is the Diabetic Athletic owner, and his business is online, and he's given us some sound advice about how to approach both weight training and exercise, such as running, so aerobic and anaerobic training. Let's look at my bloods yesterday. Now, what I would say before we start is, if you remind yourself, I had started the CGM for 6 hours yesterday, and it was a bit of a nightmare. I didn't manage to take my blood sugars, or I didn't take my blood sugars as I should have done, and therefore it caused me a few problems with calibration, and it caused me a few problems because I took the reading off of the sensor as being actual reading, whereas it clearly wasn't. Have a look. This is an overview of how the day went and blood sugar readings. So you can see I took my blood glucose reading 11 times manually with my fingers, and my sensor was on for 23 hours and 55 minutes. Yet again, this is the interesting part, 5 hours 56 suspended. Let's look below. You can see here that my blood sugars were up and down. Now this is, bear in mind, a sensor reading, okay? So up and down and up and down and down and up and down. It was a roller coaster of a day. It didn't get too high. You know, if we were going to say 5 to 8, it came outside of this blue line here is 5. Once, twice, 3 times, a whole lot of times, and there. So wasn't horrendous, but it wasn't bloody good either. What I wanted to point out was here, you can see that this is showing, what, 2.8 at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now that was on the sensor, yet when I took my blood glucose, it was 5.6. This is what I was saying again about the fact that early on, when you put the new sensor in, the Enlight sensor, it takes time to get used to you, and it takes time to calibrate accurately, and it just wasn't accurate. So here at 2 o'clock, I'm taking carbs to bring my blood sugar up, and actually I shouldn't have been, because I took my blood, so it was fine. But look, 8.9, 5.6, 7.3, 3.9, that does not look like this. 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, just less than 3.9. Well, 4 o'clock in the morning here definitely wasn't 3.9. So I think I've proved the point here that for the first 12 to 18 to maybe 24 hours, I really do struggle with relying upon the Enlight sensor. Best idea would be to look here and go 7.3. Then it dropped away. It dropped away between 6 and 12 o'clock because I obviously took a correction dose here, and it dropped away and went a little bit too low. and then I struggled for a number of hours to get my blood sugar up. And this is, as you've seen, a repeat of what we've seen in the other a few other days now. So again, I'm going to reduce my insulin a little further and see if I can get this to stop reducing. I want to keep it up at about this level here, up above the 5 level, and consistent. It's not too inconsistent. Average blood glucose was 6. Well, that means diddly squat, as you can see on this day. 18% above, 36% below. I've got 81% was my average daily basal and 19% was my bolus. That seems to be relatively consistent. Carbs to bolus insulin is 16.1. Again, that seems to be relatively consistent as well. Let's look at the very last, which is here. And you can see this is all of these red marks here are when the pump switched itself off. And it switched itself off because it's got the Enlight sensor to do it. 5 odd hours of switching itself off. Not ideal really, but let's hope tomorrow is a better day. Overall, not a fantastic day showing you the reports, but here is an overview of 3 different screen prints from the pump itself. The 11 blood glucose readings shows that it was from 3.1 to 9. Yep, okay, let's draw a line under that. The second one shows that the sensor was within range 87% of the time and below range 13. We can't rely on that, so let's draw a line under that. The last one shows, to reiterate again, it says the time I was suspended was 5 hours. So those are 3 for you. And the very last photo I've got to show you is the best part of my entire day, which is when I got back from going for a run and my son Elliot, he's the beautiful one in this photo, he came with me and rode his bike around, and at times he pushed me and at times I pushed him. So that's the best part of my entire day. Okay, look after yourselves. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thanks.